Known Mark Sanchez for a long time, 10 years in the NFL. Nice broadcasting career, too. The Intangibles with Mark Sanchez is on Showtime Sports YouTube channel. And it's interesting. Mark just sat down with Jordan Love, Tua, and Justin Herbert. And Mark, how are you this morning? How is your family? How's your brother? How's your dad?
Oh, I appreciate you asking about them, and thank you for that intro. Everything's going well, staying safe and healthy, and hopefully the same for you.
Are you living in Southern California now?
Yes, sir.
Orange County still?
You got it.
Yeah. I was down there a couple weeks ago, and people are getting out, and life's getting a little bit more normal. So I feel like I kind of know Tua, and because I used to work in Portland, I kind of know Justin Herbert. But I don't feel like I know Jordan Love, and though I've defended him on this channel because he was terrific when he had a coach that understood his skills and not so good when he had a coach that perhaps did not. And I think it's often the coach, not the player, we should blame. Tell me about Jordan Love, the guy. I don't know. I know he got caught smoking some pot. I don't care too much about that. Maybe that's my West Coast vibe. It's not the end of the, you know what I mean? Tell me about Jordan Love, the guy, Mark.
Well, he's a special player, obviously, and you see it on tape, and you see it in these spurts and these flashes like you talked about. The year before he came out, like not this past season, but the one before. I mean, it's unbelievable. We're talking about him potentially being one of the top quarterbacks in the draft, like maybe number one overall with him and Kyler Murray and those kind of guys. And he comes back, has a whole new offense, whole new offensive coordinator, and it's spotty. You see some flashes, like I said, and there's tapes that are made of him, and they're spliced together with Patrick Mahomes, and you literally see physically the same talent at times. And then other times you're scratching your head like, well, what are you doing? So it was great to go through a 2-minute drill with him against Wake Forest. It was the first game in the season. And he's going through the drive, and understanding a 2-minute drill, just having the basic blueprint of like, okay, I need 3 things to happen no matter what. We need a positive play on first down, no matter what. We can't take any sacks or penalties. And we need one explosive run or one explosive pass. Usually an explosive run comes after a stopped clock, right? Because you're not going to run the ball in a 2-minute situation. But he didn't know that. And that's no detriment to him. He just had never been taught. He didn't understand that. And so that's like a 2-minute trifecta that will guarantee you points in a 2-minute drive. And these are things that Aaron Rodgers knows. These are things that Drew Brees, those kind of players know. So he just doesn't understand that. And the first 3 plays of that drive might be the worst plays I've ever seen him have, because he's throwing the ball. The ball's getting tipped by defenders. They almost have 2 interceptions on the first 2 plays, and then he kind of settles in and starts playing the right way. But he just understanding situations. He needs guidance. He needs help that way. But the kid has all the talent in the world, and the ceiling is awfully high for him. So if he can glean some of that experience from Aaron and those kind of skills, if Aaron's willing to, even just by watching the guy, even if he never talks to him, right, he's going to learn from him just by watching. So I think that can only help, and he's going to develop into a great player.
It's Justin Herbert. I had him on the show, and I've heard this from 2 general managers, is that he's a little robotic. He's smart, but sometimes I want more maestro than robot.
Sure.
And I think to myself, well, I watched Oregon, Mark, and they had kind of a run-first head coach, kind of a conservative offense. And
no doubt.
And so I think to myself, should I blame Justin? When you did you interview Justin, and what did you make of him as a kid?
Just one, interviewing him, well-spoken, buttoned up, put together. I mean, exactly what you're looking for in the face of a franchise.
Okay, so you were good with that.
Yeah, like the way you talk about Sam Darnold, he's just going to say the right thing, going to do the right thing. A little bit different than the way you talk about Baker Mayfield, right? I mean, there's just other stuff that comes with a player like that and a personality like that. With Justin, you don't have to worry about that. He's solid.
What about his game, Mark? Now, you were a guy that loved to roll out. You always had better athletic ability than people perhaps understood. I think Justin, similarly, is a better athlete than people think. In that Rose Bowl, he was running away.
He really is.
He really
is. He pulled away from some DBs
in
that run. Yeah, we broke down that run, and one of his little juke moves, and I called him White Chocolate for doing that move. It was pretty funny, man. He loved it. But he's same thing. He goes through these 4 coordinators, and you got to understand, to develop a quarterback and understand who you're playing with, it takes time. The reason I played well at USC, the reason I played well in my second, third year with Shoddy and with Sark after 3 years, you're around that guy all the time. That's all you do is get coached by that coach. So when it changes, and every year they just kind of look back at the old coach's film and say, okay, well, what does he do well? Okay, let's just do some of that. All right, let's run a little more read option. They're not challenging him to improve his quarterback play ability, to learn how to read defenses, to understand timing and spacing and all that. They're not doing that. So he's just kind of been like, yeah, he's really good. He can run. He's big. He's fast. He's strong. Like, if we have to throw it down the field, he can throw it a mile. Okay, let's just do some of that instead of, hey, let's really push this kid to get better. And that's what he's going to need to do in the NFL. And I think Anthony Lynn, he knows that. He was there with us as our running backs coach in New York, and he understood what they were trying to do to develop me as a young quarterback. So I think they'll give Justin some time, and as long as they don't fall into that pressure of the LA media and people wanting the young stud draft pick to play right away, I think he's got a real shot too.
Yeah, he had 4 coordinators?
Oh, yeah, through college? Yeah, that's the problem.
God.
Like, you keep shuffling these guys in and out, you never know.
God.
You never know what you're getting. They don't know the quarterback that well. You just don't have enough time.
So let's move to Joe Burrow. So when you went to New York, as the organization was initially functional, Rex Ryan was popular. You were winning games. You had a great running game. You had a nice defense. Then as the Jets became less functional and some missteps by Rex Ryan, it hurt your progression. Joe Burrow worries me. I don't know if Zach Taylor's good. I think he's got some qualities I like. Sean McVay likes him. If you could give him some advice on entering a franchise with high expectations that does have a history of some dysfunction, which the Jets had, you know firsthand, what would be your advice to Joe Burrow?
Well, listen, and this is no knock on Cincinnati, Ohio, but it's just not the media market that New York is, right? I mean, we had 10 beat writers at least every day, and that's if 5 people were sick, you know? Cincinnati just doesn't have that. And so, sure, he's the first-round pick, but it's a lot like Kyler Murray in Arizona. Not a huge media market. Not the biggest story in the world. There's other things that people care about more. So for him, he's going to have the benefit of the doubt that way. He's always going to have a target because he's the number 1 overall pick. But he has that mentality of, you know, I keep my head down, I don't say too much, and I'm just going to outwork everybody and let's see what happens. And I think he's been through enough with his story getting to last year that as long as he can fall back on that and remember that, what got him to that point, and then he's got to just keep pushing through any of these setbacks, any of these external concerns that he shouldn't worry about, things that are out of his control, I think that would be my only advice, is just control what you can control, go work your butt off. You and T. Higgins should be throwing the ball every day. That's your guy. So develop that relationship and keep your head down, say the right thing, and go have a blast playing ball.
Mark Sanchez, Showtime Sports YouTube channel. It's called The Intangibles. Tua, Jordan Love, some Justin Herbert. For the record, I think they're all going to be successful. I just think Justin Herbert got lucky. He gets the best roster, which I do think helps.
That's a huge help. Huge help. And didn't you call the Packers drafting a quarterback in the first round a couple months ago?
Yes. No, I did. So here's what happened. So I said,
how did nobody talk about that?
Well, no, because I came out and I said they should draft a quarterback. And then about 2 weeks later, an executive in that division called me and he said,
that's what it was. Yeah. Okay.
And he said, you know what, man, you can't send that message. This guy needs help. Their offensive line's overrated. And then I said, you know what? Nah, you can't do that. But let me go to that. I will always defend an athlete. I do not believe it's Aaron Rodgers' job to mentor Jordan Love. I think that's totally unfair. My job isn't to mentor Doug Gottlieb. I don't want him to have my job.
Of course.
So, but there is a certain a presumption that you will help him if he asks questions. Tell me the dynamic with Aaron and Jordan that you'd be okay with, and Aaron's supposed responsibility to mentor.
Yeah, listen, and Favre's not wrong, right? It's not Aaron's job to win. That's not a part of his job, to mentor a younger player like Jordan Love who's coming to take his job. But there is like an expected professionalism, right? Like, don't make it harder on him, and I don't think Aaron would do that.
Right.
And there's a professionalism on the other side, too, on Jordan Love's side of, you know, get in his hip pocket, soak up everything you can without being the annoying little brother that he can't stand, right? I mean, that's fair, too. If you're going to ask Aaron to be professional, then you expect the other guy to be professional, too. And so I think just by watching him enough, like I said, just being around the guy, it can't hurt. Like if I got to learn my first year from Drew Brees, even if he never talked to me, you could still just watch him and try and understand what he's doing. Ask the coaches, hey, how does he know that? How did he make that check? I used to do that with Leinart all the time. He had just come back from winning a Heisman, and I'm watching him in practice. And, I mean, in some ways, I'm, like, terrified to talk to the guy because he's a Heisman Trophy winner. He's the USC quarterback, and I'm, like, this young punk redshirt freshman, like, who cares? And so I would just watch and listen and go kind of sneak up to the huddle and listen to the way he called plays and the way he talked to guys on third down. And you just soak up all that information. So I expect Jordan to do that. And then you expect Aaron to be a total pro, like I think he will be. And he's not going to, like, diagram plays for him and install the offense for him. He's not going to do that. But at the same time, he can be a pro, and I think he will.
By the way, I like Tua a lot. I would.
He's special, man.
No, everybody says
What's
that.
Crazy. It's here's what I think it is, and I don't know if I've heard anybody else say it. So I don't want to take credit for it, but the way I talked to Sark about it, sometimes he can't even articulate what he did on film, and it leaves you scratching your head because it's so good and so fast and so instinctive. You're like, well, how did you know that? And he can't really get the words out. Like, he doesn't even know. It's almost like he's processing what's happening physically in front of him. And in those nanoseconds, his body's already reacting. He's already making decisions that he didn't even know he could make that quickly, and he can't even talk about it. So I was like, what the heck is that? How did you know? And, I mean, it's uncanny the way he does stuff like that. So it's almost like he's mentally twitchy. They talk about athletes, how they're fast twitch guys. That's what his brain is, and he can't even say it fast enough. It's crazy. I've never been around anybody like that.
Yeah, Russell Wilson certainly has some of that.
Oh, no doubt. No doubt.
Yeah. Hey, good luck to you and your fam. Hope everything's good for you, Mark. It's called The Intangibles with Mark Sanchez, a good dude. Showtime Sports YouTube channel. You're always welcome on the show, and hopefully next time we talk, USC's got 11 or 12 wins.
There we go. That'll give us something fun to talk about. Appreciate it.
You bet, Mark. Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from The Herd or go watch a few segments from other shows on FS1.